So now use hashtag draft to get your questions on the show. So Believer72, what round will Jalen Hurts go in? Tom, I'm going to say round 3.
I think round 3, round 4 ends up being his range. There's some buzz right now that Hurts is like a pre-draft riser, which I guess makes sense because he is going to test well in terms of interviews. He's going to handle that really well. He's going to be good on whiteboard sessions. He's a smart kid. But we always play that game every year with, this day 3 quarterback. He's going to go round 1, ends up going round 3 or round 4. Maybe Hurts ends up being that guy. But I think a team will take him as a potential backup, maybe develop into a low-end starter in the NFL.
So we're doing a live Q&A here around the draft. So make sure that you're using hashtag draft, okay? Hashtag draft, or you can super chat. So Kevin, should the Bengals go linebacker and draft Kenneth Murray, or go offensive line and draft Cesar Ruiz or Lloyd Cushenberry?
I mean, you got some great options there. If Murray or Ruiz are there, I'd be a little bit surprised. Just take either. I think both of those are really good players. I might prefer the offensive line. Try and help out your quarterback. You can get a linebacker in round 3. If Murray and Ruiz are gone, I wouldn't mind moving down 4, 5, 6, 7 spots, add assets, and then take someone like Cushenberry because I think he'll still be on the board at that point.
We got a super chat now rolling in from Mark Walker. So if Denzel Mims or Justin Jefferson are gone at 21, who should the Philadelphia Eagles draft?
It's a tough one because in this scenario, I assume that means that not only are those 2 players gone, but Ruggs and Judy or Lamb are also gone. So I don't love that scenario for Philly, Mark. That means there was an early run on receivers. That did not work out very well for them. I don't think they want T. Higgins. I think he's going to be too much like Alshon Jeffrey. Maybe they just embrace the speed of Jalen Reagor. If Laviska Shenault checks out medically, a big if right now, I think that's the route they should go. But, God, maybe you just try and trade down, or maybe there's a great defense player who slid to you somehow.
Mark, appreciate the question. Use hashtag draft to get your questions here on the show. And if we miss any of your questions, I'm on Instagram at MitchellRenz365. And Tom, he's at WhatGoingDowny on Twitter. What up, Ramon? Do you think it's best for my Seahawks to trade down?
I am always a fan of teams trading down. I think having extra shots at draft picks works out well in the end for you. It makes you a better team because you're going to miss the same percentage, but you got more of them to miss with. And, of course, a little bit you'll miss less earlier rounds, but you guys get what I'm saying there. So if they want to trade down, I do think that makes sense. But I also want to throw in this caveat. Everybody wants to trade down. Everyone gets mad that, I didn't get enough when I traded down. Well, guys, if everyone wants to move down, it's called a buyer's market. It means you're not going to get as much back. And for Seattle, and every team, you must consider who's on the board. You don't want to trade away from a great player just to trade down. So consider it, but I got to see how that board falls before I make that decision.
If you're stuck at home, tighten me. Because guess what? Tom and I, we're stuck at home too. But guess what? Here at Chat Sports, we are going to have NFL coverage the entire offseason long. So even though Tom and I are stuck here, we're still going live. So hit the notification bell and comment yes once your notifications are turned on. Why is that important? Well, so that way you don't miss anything because we have NFL news, rumors, mock drafts, live Q&As. We're stuck at home too. We just want you guys to join the party. Subscribe to Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Comment yes once you turn on those notifications. Let's get into this next question, Tom. It's a super chat from Alakai Trimble. If I got it wrong, I apologize, but I appreciate the super chat. Will the Cowboys finally make safety a priority?
Does signing Clinton Dix count? If so, yes. I think the Cowboys are setting themselves up to be able to take the best player on their board at several different spots: receiver, defensive end, defensive tackle, corner, safety. So if there's a safety there, I think it is possible, but I don't think they're going to take a safety early just to take one early.
We got another question now rolling in, and remember to use hashtag draft. That tells producer Alicia which questions that she should show. Who is the most underrated running back in the 2020 NFL Draft?
Really good question, Jordan. We put out a sleepers video yesterday, so you can check that out, by the way. I got 2 different backs on there. It almost depends on how you define underrated. Like, are you including the early round guys? Are you looking more at late round picks? So I'll throw out a couple of names here. I think Josh Kelly could end up being a guy. He's out of UCLA. I think Darrington Evans out of App State could end up being a nice player in the NFL. I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire counts anymore, but he's one of those big five receivers. I see Tony just mentioned Evans as well. If you're looking for another option, I like the Memphis kid, Antonio Gibson. I learned my lesson last year from Tony Pollard. He's fun, and I agree with Emmett Brown. I think Zach Moss is a bit underrated. Because he's not a great athlete, that's going to knock him down. But if you want a first and second down bruiser and have success in that role as a rotational back, Moss can be that guy.
All right, we got Raider Joker. Should the Raiders get two receivers in the draft, or should we get a receiver and a cornerback? If I got to pick between the two, I'll go wide receiver and cornerback just because of how deep the wide receiver class is. Now, sure, if Ruggs, if Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, we can get two of those guys, sign me up for that every day of the week. But I think when you really got to think about it, I think more realistic is like Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb and like a Denzel Mims. I'd rather have a CeeDee Lamb and like a CJ Henderson or Fulton, but that's just my opinion.
No, I agree. I think that is the best path for the Raiders. And you can still take a good receiver, on day 2 or day 3 as well.
Let's go to Ida. Ida Boss. What chance is there that Big Blue takes Isaiah Simmons? Guess you mean the Giants.
Yeah, that's what he means. I think it's pretty good. I think it comes down to Simmons or one of those tackles offensively. And I guess technically I can't rule out Derek Brown because, well, it is Dave Gettleman after all. But I think Simmons has a really good chance of being the guy. And because I don't have a great feel yet for which tackle the Giants want, Simmons might have slightly higher odds than any one individual tackle, even if those OTs combined end up being a little bit more likely. But I would not be surprised whatsoever if Isaiah Simmons ends up being the pick at 4 by the New York Giants.
Ida, I appreciate the question. Hopefully you appreciate this deal we got for you. So NFL jerseys under $80. So you guys can see that there was a bit of a price drop. Normally these bad boys are $100. And luckily, we found them. Now they're under 80. So if you need a new NFL jersey, if you want to rep your favorite player, if you want to rep your favorite team, go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. We'll put it in the comments. We'll put it in the description below if you can't remember that it's chatsports.com/jersey deal. But they're about to have the new NFL jerseys, like a DeAndre Hopkins Cardinals, which guess what? All over it. All over it. Chatsports.com/jersey deal. You got a super chat rolling in. Appreciate you, Alakai. Does Proche look like a starting slot wide receiver on day 3?
Yeah, that's James Proche out of SMU. Now, he mostly played on the outside for SMU. I think he's going to move into the inside as a slot receiver. He makes some great just highlight reel catches. Didn't quite test in the way I was hoping for, so you might see him slide a little bit more than where I think he should go, like kind of in that round 4, early round 5 at latest range. But I think that might drop him down a little bit. I do think he can be a starting slot. I'm not sure he's going to be an instant day 1 starting slot, depending on what team he goes to. But if he goes to a team like the Cowboys on day 3, I think he's your slot receiver on day 1.
Next question's rolling in from Craig _Capalot_. Should the Pats draft Fromm in the 2nd, or is there a better pick?
I don't like the idea of them taking Fromm in round 2. I'm not convinced he's that much better than Jarrett Stidham. If you're taking him in round 2, you're saying he's your guy. Look, he can be a high-end backup, a low-end starter. I just don't see the traits out of a future legitimate franchise. He's more Brian Hoyer than or even maybe a Kirk Cousins best case scenario. I don't love that pick for the Patriots. I think he'd maximize himself in New England. I trust that organization and that coaching staff. But frankly, if I don't go quarterback in round 1, if I'm New England, I might just try and wait till next year. And also, by the way, Craig, the Patriots don't have a second round pick. Now, I assume you meant trading up for him, but even if it's round 3, I don't love it in the end.
Let's go to this next question from Tim's Hot Takes, and remember to use #draft or to super chat to get on the show. How are you reacting if the Cowboys take, I'm guessing, Justin Jefferson at 17?
I'd be okay with it. It wouldn't be my favorite pick. At that point, I'd probably prefer a trade down. So, look, I could deal with it in the end. Like I could get on board with it, but it wouldn't be my favorite pick. So it'd be a little bit more of a lukewarm, okay, that's fine type of.
Would it be a hot take?
Reaction. No, I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think he's going to go top 25, so that's not
Tim's
really a reach.
Lukewarm takes. All right, let's go to the next question from Tony. Tony, get a picture. Who's a better prospect coming out of college, Drew Locke or Jordan Love?
I got to go back and check where I had Locke relative to Jordan Love. I think Love is going to be the pick because he's going to bring you better upside. Like Jordan Love hitting is the type of move that gets a GM, executive of the year, because that team once started and they went from being a non-playoff team to instantly being one of the better teams in the NFL because his upside is that high. I think Locke had a higher ceiling coming out, even though they were both still fairly raw prospects. And I think that will be reflected in where they go. I think Love goes earlier than Drew Locke did, but I really wouldn't be that surprised if Love ends up going in the Drew Locke range, because I think they're fairly close, different strengths and weaknesses there in terms of the prospect. I think they're fairly close in terms of overall grades in the end.
Drew Locke went 42nd overall, second round of the Broncos, I believe. I think that's where it was. I think so. Okay, next question's coming in from Ramon. Most overrated player in the draft?
I don't know. I don't think Jacob Eason goes early enough to get that designation, but I don't love what he brings really to the table. So I throw up Jacob Eason in that discussion. I don't really see a whole bunch of overrated players this year. There are some I'm not as high on, but I'm sure there will be a reach somewhere along the way. But I don't see a bunch of wow, I hate that prospect in the same way that I kind of did in terms of like a Daniel Jones last year. There will certainly be busts, but if Ross Blacklock goes round one, I won't be happy. How about that one?
Ramon, appreciate the question. If we missed your questions, you can hit me up on Instagram at MitchellRens365, or you can hit up Tom on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney.